Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of ChinnyVision. This time, it's Xenon 2. Xenon 2 is the 1989 shoot-'em-up game by the Bitmap brothers. It's a vertically scrolling shoot-'em-up, fairly traditional, although it had a lot of plaudits at the time for mainly its graphics and its sound. The soundtrack is by Bomb the Bass, and we're going to start off on the Atari ST, and yes, thanks to the Medway boys, I am going to use a cheat on this because Xenon 2 is notoriously difficult and I want to get a little bit further into the game, so we're going to select infinite lives and infinite credits. On the ST here, you have an AY rendition of the Bomb the Bass music by David Whittaker, who did, I think, the music on the Amiga and the ST versions. It involved on the Amiga certainly sequencing samples from the original song and then pulling it all back together on the Amiga. One of the first instances of a real-life song being ported to a home computer for a game such as this. The reason I'm starting on the ST is because this is the first version I saw it at. There was a fundraising day at school and my mate bought his ST in with Xenon 2, which I'd never seen on his computer before actually, and charged people 10p a go like an arcade machine to play on Xenon 2. So we're loading the game from disc. This is a single disc crack version by the Medway boys, one of the cracking groups that were around in the 90s, along with the Pompey Pirates, who I should probably have an allegiance to, given that I'm closer to Portsmouth than I am to the Medway area. Disk drive clicking away. Hangs on to 0, or do I have to press fire? Press fire, there we go. Get ready, player 1. And off we go. And the first thing that strikes you is these lush, semi-3D, they look 3D, graphics that when your ship moves, you see a different part of the ship, the enemies rotate and move around. It's very impressive, and when you remember the ST only has a limited colour palette and a limited amount of colours on the screen, this is extremely impressive. It looks very, very polished. It's a nice use of colours. I am using auto fire, which is actually a power-up available in the game that you can buy, but I'm just using the auto fire on the joystick. I don't know why that they've done that, because what you can do is you collect these little, you'll see after I've shot a wave of enemies. See one, I'll shout when I see one. You collect these spheres that are credits and then you spend them in the shop. There we go, there's one there. Can I get to it up there? Yeah, I've got it. And that's a credit that I can spend in the shop. There's another one. At the midway point of each level, at the end of each level. Essentially an idea ripped off from Blood Money. Did Blood Money come before this? I think it did. I think Blood Money was before this. I'm going to go and Wikipedia that up. And there's another credit there. And sometimes these levels split off into two, about a quarter of the way through the level on the first level here. And if you go right, I think I'm right in saying that's a dead end. Yeah, you can see as I moved on there, that was a dead end. So you can reverse in this game a limited amount as well, but you can't go back forever and ever. And here's the shop. There's the shopkeeper, and you can sell items from your ship and you can buy them as well. So what's that? That's the real... He will buy my... Oh, I didn't want to do that. I've sold my rear shot for 500 credits. It's a complete waste of time because I should have infinite credits according to the Medway Boys trainer that I had. And I've just checked on Wikipedia. Blood Money is also 1989, so I don't know who's borrowing from who, and neither of them seen each other's games. Don't know, so I'll have to assume that this is an original idea. That's the best thing to do. We can buy items there. What you have to do is click on them and he'll tell you what it is. You click on it again, then you buy it. So you have to go through it each time to learn which one it is. Why there couldn't be a little bit of text on each of those icons, I don't know. I also don't know what the advice icon is either, that he charges you £200 or 200 credits for advice. So there we go, finishing the shop. Back out into level, about halfway through now. And watch these things from the side that shoot you as well. And there's a good variety of enemies, and it all looks very organic because it is supposed to be an organic setting, and you're supposed to find the enemy at the end of the level that has a big bomb on it that you have to shoot him to disable it. I think I'm right in saying the end of this level is a giant snail thing, but we'll see. The restore points can be a little bit frustrating. When you die, it can sometimes end up dumping you back quite a way. So if you have going through a difficult section like this section here, that's taken me several attempts to have a good stab at, it's very difficult because it dumps you back so far. Bigger enemies there, take a couple of shots to kill. We should be coming up to the end of the level. Just the AY chip and the ST, 3 channels. Unfortunately, the music pretty much goes to the background when you're shooting, that you can't really hear it, especially because I've got auto fire on it. All you can hear is the shooting noises. And there we go, that's the big... Is it a snail or some kind of undersea monster? Again, very detailed, looks absolutely beautiful. Lovely shading on that, looks very 3D. The graphics artists here really need to be complimented. Because again, on the ST, we don't have all those colours. You've only got 16 colours that you can display at once. Not like the Amiga with 32 in a standard screen mode, and of course a lot more in other screen modes. You know, this looks very detailed and very impressive. End of level shop now. We should have some money to... So I'm not going to sell anything off my ship this time. I have to say, without the cheat holder, you'd long since dead. So we'll select some power-ups. It's showing me all the ones that I can afford. I thought I had an infinite credits cheat on. I could swear blind I did. It doesn't appear to be working. Infinite lives is working. The infinite credit thing is not. So we're going to get a few more power-ups here. There's various power-ups that go to the side behind you. Offer things like smart bombs, extra energy, speed-ups, all the standard stuff. And that's a little bit about what Xenon 2 is. All the standard stuff. When you get away from these fancy graphics and the nice soundtrack as well, there's nothing new here really. It's a fairly standard shoot 'em up, and there's many better games of its type. And we're just loading up level 2 here. I'm hoping the graphics are... We're going to see a significant difference for level 2, like other games like Nemesis, where you get a big difference between the levels. Still very organic and nice, but no big change. I've got these side shooting things now, which really do, with auto fire, you get a good old coverage of your bullets over the screen. I have tried playing it without auto fire. It's quite difficult really, because there can be a lot going on. This is not an easy game. It has to be said, not an easy game at all. Apparently, if you want to complete it, there's about an hour's worth of gameplay here. But there's about an hour of this. And you know what? From what you've seen so far, there's no real significant changes. Once you've played this game for 10 minutes, you've really seen everything you're going to see. Yeah, there's different baddies, different variations, different screen layouts, but it's very, very samey. I think of some of the Japanese shoot-em-ups on the Mega Drive, and you go on each level, and each level can be different, and there's a big variation in the scenery between levels. There's none of this here. Yes, the scenery changes, but it's all very samey. So we're going to move on to the Amiga. And you have what you'd expect on the Amiga, sampled sound. Incidentally, because the previous version I was playing was a hacked version to get onto one disc, it does miss out some of the title sequence that we're seeing here on the Amiga, so don't assume the ST is missing some of these samples and some of this fancy graphics in the title sequence on the Amiga. They are probably there, but they have been cut out of that version I was playing. Although that said, the music on the Amiga is far easier on the ear than the AY chip. It actually sounds recognisably like the original song. Title screen, exactly the same as the ST. A few more colours on there, but nothing that is going to shock you or make you go, wow, this is a big difference. It's very, very similar. So we're going to start the game. There is a 2-player option, by the way. All it does is that you play one player after the other. There's no 2 players on the screen at once, so I'm not going to show that because, you know, it's essentially the same as the 1-player game. So that's loading up level 1. Crushed up screen here on the Amiga. Big old black gap down the bottom of the screen there. A little bit lazy. There's no reason that it needs to be. I'm guessing they've gone for 320 by 200 screen mode and ported that over from the ST. And of course the Amiga, PAL Amiga, is 320 by 256. So we've got, yeah, that looks about 56 pixels to me, spare down the bottom. Lazy lads. You could have ported this across properly and filled the screen, but no, you've just dumped this across from the ST and we're missing 56 pixels at the bottom. Amiga version scrolls far better. One thing I didn't mention was the ST version can slow down when there's a lot going on. I guess that's the lack of hardware scrolling in the hardware on the ST, especially when I had the auto fire on and there were loads of things flying around. Yes, it wasn't significant, but it was slowing down. The Amiga version is much smoother and it doesn't slow down no matter how much you've got on the screen. Other than that, it's pretty much identical to the ST, probably to its detriment, really. They could have put a little bit more polish in here to make it a little bit more of an Amiga game. Yes, they've used all 32 colours, so the gradients are a little bit better, although it wasn't a problem I noticed on the ST. It's that late 80s, early 90s thing where games were aimed at the ST and then quickly ported to the Amiga, or at least designed so they could be put out on the ST easily. The Amiga really isn't being pushed here. There's a dozen Japanese shooters on the Mega Drive that are better than this. It's so derivative. CMVG went absolutely mad over this, but to be honest, they went mad over anything that had fancy graphics and sound. They were such a shallow magazine that just used to fawn over anything that had fancy graphics, and yeah, the game doesn't stand up at all. Over to the Sega Master System, and yes, I don't know what this is going to be like on an 8-bit with all the graphics and sound stripped back, so we're going to give this a go. And right, okay, gonna have to put the cart in again. Right, take 2. Is it going to work? Not going to get super hang on. Yay, it worked. Genuinely thought it was going to give an error again or super hang on. My carts are all clean when I buy them and then put away, but I don't know why that didn't want to work. Right, so this is a Master. A Master System trying to be a 16-bit, and no, I've not got the video running in slow motion. This is what it's like. It's laggy, it's slow. If you looked at a still from this game, you'd think, wow, they've done a really good job of porting this. The graphics themselves are lovely, but oh my goodness me, this is arthritically slow. And worse than that, because it's so slow, the controls are laggy, because the original game has this kind of inertia where it takes... You can see it there as I go left to right. You can see what the intention is, but the problem is, on a version running this slow, it takes about a quarter of a second between you pressing the joystick and anything actually moving on the screen. Oh dear. Oh, it's horrible. And it scrolls left to right because it hasn't got the same screen resolution as 16-bit. Oh, I'm getting stuck on the scenery. I'm stuck. Oh my goodness me. This is horrible. This is absolutely dreadful. This is like watching an elderly relative dance at a family wedding to the latest tunes in the hit parade, and it's dreadful. It's absolutely embarrassing. The Master System. Oh, it's slowing down even more. The Master System can't do this. We thought R-Type was slow, then this is even slower. Absolutely abysmal. Xenon 2 is a game that the magazines raved over at the time, primarily ignoring the very monotonous gameplay and the huge difficulty level in favour of the fancy graphics and sound. And yes, it's visually stunning, especially for a 1989 game, and the sound's absolutely brilliant on the Amiga. It's okay on the ST as well, but gameplay-wise, it's monotonous, it's boring, and it's just dull, and it's been done so many times better in other games. The Amiga version is probably the top of the tree. It scrolls nice, it looks nice, but yeah. The ST version still looks very nice, but the sound isn't quite there, and it slows down. And the Master System version, oh my goodness me, why even attempt it? R-Type was slow on the Master System, but just about playable. This is not playable. It just does not work. It's absolutely arthritic. It's a pathetic game on the Master System. It's truly awful. Test your patience just playing it because it is so slow. And on a game with a paper-thin gameplay that's been done better and better on other Master System games as well. Scramble Spirits, you could play that. It's essentially a vertical scrolling game. It moves at a decent speed, but it doesn't have this arthritic slowness or this scrolling around that Xenon 2 does. Yes, Xenon 2 is a historically important game for lots and lots of reasons, and it looks fantastic, but gameplay-wise, it's monotonous, it's boring, and by goodness me, I've played this, so you don't have to.